What's up, riders? Welcome back. In this video, we're going to show you how to install a rear view camera on this Ariel Rider X class. Some people may ask, why do you need a rear view camera on a bicycle? I think the answer is self-explanatory: safety and peace of mind. I've been testing this camera on our Red X class for the last couple weeks, and I've got to say, outside of one concerning issue where it died prematurely, this thing has been nothing short of amazing. The main benefit is not only can you see directly behind you, you can see behind you to each side about 2 to 3 car lanes over. So what that translates to when you're on the road is that a quick glance down at the monitor can give you quick information on 195 degrees behind you. In my testing, I found that the monitor is adequately bright and doesn't suffer from any glare issues. I'm super excited to show you how I installed the camera on the Ariel Rider X class. Now, this bike is not like a conventional bike, and it was very difficult to find a mounting point that's designed for this camera. We'll cover more of that in the installation, but first, let's do a quick unboxing. All right, so let's see what comes in the packaging. Of course, you get the monitor itself. You get a GPS unit style mounting bracket. If you've ever owned a TomTom or a Garmin, you'll be familiar with this type of bracket here. Next, we have the camera itself, which comes pre-installed in this multi-position bracket. Up here we have some nice Velcro wire ties. I'm counting probably like 10 or 15 of them here, so you can have a nice tidy install. And then of course we have our micro USB cable for charging. Unfortunately, it's not USB-C, but it seems to charge pretty fast. I gotta say, the most puzzling thing about this product is the fact that there is no branding or name brand or manufacturer name anywhere on the box, in the booklet, anywhere. The front just says bike rear view monitor, ensure riding safety. Some information on the side that is debatable. I don't know if this is actually waterproof. The night vision is Made in China, a barcode. There's absolutely nothing on the back. The manual, I'm not going to show you the whole manual, but the manual has no manufacturer name on it. Literally the only way I know the name of this product is by going back to the Amazon listing and seeing that it is called a Fisiki handlebar bike mirror. So, super strange name, fantastic product. Check the link in the description. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you'd normally want to do is find a place on the bike where you can mount the camera. So as you can see here, the camera is already in this top clamp here, and the idea is to secure this somewhere on the back of the bike where it can hopefully be centered, because this camera has such a wide angle of view that if it's not centered or if it's too far back, you're going to see a lot of the bike itself versus your surroundings. So when I first got these cameras and I installed it on the red one, my first thought was to clamp it onto the frame of the bike here under the saddle or under here, but there was really nowhere here that I can mount it. I considered putting it here, but again, because of the wide angle, I was pretty much cutting off one whole side of my vision. Lastly, I tried installing it on the shock itself and on the trailing arm. However, that was pushed too far back, and all I was seeing was mainly the fender and my bag here. So I had to find another place to mount it. And as you can see in the pop-up here, the best place where I could mount it was on the back of the bike, right below the tail light. As you can see on the red bike here, wow, this is really dirty. Let me wipe that off. I have it secured nice and tight right below the tail light. It's not super tight where I can't turn this, but realistically, once the camera is centered and angled, there's no need to adjust it. I like this look a lot. It kind of hides the fact that you have a camera. There's no big bracket, making it pretty obvious. Of course, if you leave your bike outside or chain it up, you're gonna take your monitor with you. But as you can see, it's nice and sleek in the back. You don't see any of the wires, where you can see the wire here, but nobody else is gonna know that's there. And then I have it coming right up to the monitor, and it looks pretty great. I have my phone mount right next to it. So when I'm riding, all it takes is just one look down and I can quickly see my phone and I can see what's behind me. Now the fact that I wear a motorcycle helmet, it's a pretty big chin, which blocks a lot of my vision right below me. So it's nice to have my phone up high and have the monitor up high so I can be aware of my surroundings and see my directions at all times. Unfortunately, my bike is still down and in the sick bay, still waiting on the tires to come, but in one of my following videos, I will be attempting to get that rear wheel off, and hopefully that can happen because I'm really trying to avoid going to a bike shop. I really want to learn how to work on this bike top to bottom, front to back on my own. I know it can't be super difficult. I just don't want to ruin anything on my new bike. Thankfully, we have two bikes, so I can always take one apart and refer to the other one to see how everything is supposed to go back. So, I do take that as a blessing. It sucks that I got a flat on this one, but the bright side is I have better tires coming. I've got some tire liners coming, and hopefully we got some videos coming on that because I know a lot of people are very, very curious how to get that rear wheel off. From what I've been reading and hearing and seeing, it's pretty much just like any other mountain bike or e-bike, but a lot of people have never done it. So it'd be nice to be able to see how it's done on this bike, and hopefully I can accomplish that. Okay, next we're gonna pop the camera out of its housing. So we're just gonna loosen this clamp here. It should slide right out. Place the camera here where it can be safe and not fall. So in order to put together that makeshift bracket that you saw on the red bike, you're gonna need the inserts that come on this bracket here. This bracket has inserts pre-installed, so you're not really taking anything away from this, and this does have pretty thick handlebars. Now you would think this bracket is no longer needed, but I actually found another use for this. And another cool thing about this bracket is it still has some grips pre-installed, so even though we're not using these in here, if you tighten this to the handlebars, you're still gonna get a nice grip, nice bite, and it's gonna be nice, tight, and secure. And then we're also gonna need the insert that is in the monitor bracket. So we've got our 3 inserts here. Again, this also has a pre-installed insert, so when we attach this to the handlebars, we're not gonna scratch our handlebars, and it's gonna have some nice bites, so you don't have to worry about it moving around. Okay, next we're ready to put together our makeshift bracket for the camera. So in order to get this done, you wanna take 2 of these rubber strips, line them up end to end, and just hold it secure with your thumbs. Get the camera in there. And then you want to position the camera within the 2 strips so that the bottom strip is flat and the top one is wrapped around the camera housing. Next, you'll want to tape it here and you'll want to tape it here. The tape that I use is black vinyl tape. I'll have a link down in the description. I'm going to cut a few strips and then we'll get started. The easiest way I've found to put this together is to press down with your fingers and keep everything together at the edge of a table, or in this case the box. And by this hanging over the edge, it gives you enough space to secure the 2 strips together with tape. Flip this around and then secure the other side. Key here is you want to try to keep it centered, so I'm doing my best to do that here. I'm eyeballing it. I'm pretty good at eyeballing things, but sometimes I get it wrong. But the cool thing is once you get this tight, the camera can still rotate. I've got 2 3.5 inch strips of black vinyl tape here. I'm gonna go ahead and secure these and then we'll keep it rolling. All right, and here we have the final product. As you can see now, this is nice and secure. It's definitely in there nice and tight. So now we can move on to attaching this to the taillight. So I use black vinyl tape for this as well. I find that it works very well. It's easy to cut, but it's very difficult to tear. It stretches a little, but not much. It's worked out great. I've used it all over my bike for all kinds of things. I've used it to cover labels on my pouches. I've used it to secure the conduit up front. I've used it for all kinds of things. It's great. Although I know zip ties could work very well here, but I like the vinyl tape because it's not gonna damage anything. If you over tighten it, I'm worried about cracking this because it is plastic. So I'm gonna go cut some thin strips of tape and we'll be back and get this secured. As you can see, I have 2 very thin strips of vinyl tape cut out here, which I'm gonna use to secure it here to the taillight. I trust this material. I've used it a lot. This stuff is super tough. It doesn't tear, it barely stretches. The adhesive is strong, but it doesn't leave residue. So I'm gonna get these attached and then we'll go on to routing the wire for the camera. Okay, so we got it in there. It's super secure. That thing is not going anywhere. The camera's not going anywhere. Nice thing about this is not going to rattle. It's not going to make any noise. Again, it's super sleek and stealthy in my opinion. I think it looks great. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a longer strip of vinyl tape, and we're going to go around the circumference of the tail light so we can secure this even better, because even though I trust this and it's not going to fall off, like, why not secure it a little tighter? So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we got that extra level of protection there. We've got strips going vertically, we've got strips going around. This thing is not going anywhere. It's pretty centered. Yeah, so this is done. This looks great. Much better than using the bracket in my opinion. This isn't gonna wobble, it's not gonna move. I guess we'll go ahead and leave this pouch down because now we gotta route this wire up to the front of the bike so we can get the monitor on. The wire itself is 6 feet, so it's longer than your average bike. So it should be plenty long enough to route up and in and around any nooks, crannies, and crevices of your bike so you can get this installed the way that you want. So you don't have to have that unsightly wire just running all through your bike where it could maybe get snagged on something or damaged. And if you're OCD like me, I mean, you want things to look nice and tidy. It only takes a little more effort, maybe a few more minutes on a job to get something done right. In my opinion, why not do that? So the first thing I recommend is slipping the wire from the camera through the wire from the taillight. So now the wire from the camera is in between the taillight wire and the bracket. And now we can just route the wire up to the front of the bike along the same path that the taillight wire takes. I'm just gonna route it through loosely for now, just so we can make sure that we get it routed properly. And then we'll be able to secure everything with the Velcro straps that came with the camera. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna loop the camera wire up and over the bracket that I mounted the alarm to. Next, I'm gonna route the camera wire along the top bar of the bike. Thankfully, I've got my pouches here, so they've got their straps in here. They're gonna kind of hide the wire as well. And I can also loop the wire through the pouch straps, which will kind of hide it and make this a little easier without having to use as many of the Velcro straps that came with this. Okay, so now we've got the wire routed all the way to the front of the bike. We've probably got a good 3 feet of wire left here, so there's plenty of space to route this up, around, and through your bike, depending on how you have yours set up. Everybody's cockpit is a little different. Next thing we want to do is install the monitor. I'm just going to attach this monitor bracket the same way that I did on the red bike, which is on this thicker part of the handlebar here. With something like this where you're going over bumps and cracks in the road and roots of trees and stuff like that, you don't want anything bouncing around. So what I do when I think is a good idea is to angle this down as far as it can go so it can't bounce, you know, like that. The thinking behind that is if this can't go down anymore, it's not going to bounce when you go over bumps, and then you'll have a nice steady monitor. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and strap this on, and then we'll get the monitor snapped in. Okay, so we've got our mount attached, and we're going to go ahead and slide the monitor on. Alright, so now we've got the monitor on. I've still got the screen protector on it because I actually ordered some screen protectors that I've already put one on the monitor for the red bike, and I want to make sure that as soon as I pull this one off, I put the other one on because I'd hate for this to get scratched. So we're going to go ahead and plug this in. There's only one place you can go. Plug it in right there. Power button is on the side here at the top, and we're good to go. It looks like we have the camera upside down, so we're going to go ahead and flip that. Now I gotta keep in mind that the bike is leaning because it's on the kickstand. So I'm gonna level the bike so I can level the camera. That looks pretty level in my opinion. I apologize for the poopy angle. I just wanted to show you an indication of how wide angle this camera is. So right now I'm standing directly behind the bike, about 3-4 feet away from the bike. Now if I move over to the left, I'm now over maybe 4 feet to the left of the bike, and you can see I'm still well within view of the monitor. I can actually step all the way around the corner. So for my estimation, if somebody is about 5 to 10 feet behind you, you should be able to see at least 10 to 15 feet to either side of you, which is pretty impressive. Now I'm going over here to the right. So like if somebody was on my right, even if they're further behind, like I would easily see them. Like I've already done it and I've experienced it when I'm out riding with this camera. It's a game changer in my opinion. Within 1 second of glancing down, you know exactly if it's safe to make a turn or change lanes, which is huge for me, especially when you're out in the city. Like we don't go to the city often, but we do ride where there's a lot of traffic and there's a lot of bikers. So it's nice to just be able to have that peace of mind. So like right now, like I was saying, so if somebody was to my right and maybe 10, 15 feet behind me, which is about the distance that somebody would like ring their bell or something like that, like I would easily see them and be able to switch lanes if I wanted to, or if I need to make a turn, I can quickly glance down at my camera and determine if it's safe to make a turn or a lane change. So some of the other features of the camera, on the left side on the bottom here, there's a little switch that turns on aka night mode. This reduced the glare of headlights quite a bit. I wouldn't say significantly, but it was noticeable, so it's nice to have that feature. I don't know how they pull it off, but it seems to work pretty good, especially with headlights, which I think is what it was intended for. On the front here, there's 3 buttons here. There's a middle button, I'm assuming for mode, and then you can, as you can see, you can change the backlight, the brightness, the contrast, the saturation, language, and reset. Okay, so we've got our camera mounted. We have our wire routed nice and tightly. It's pretty much invisible. You can't see anywhere where there may be a wire or anything being routed through or around the bike. So it's pretty cool that you can hide a lot of that under there. There's plenty of places to secure the Velcro straps that come with the bike. And by the way, those work fantastic. As you can see, I have one right here, keeping the wire out of sight. Once it gets up to the front, I just have it going down into this conduit here, and then it's going back up through it. It's coming out of the top here, right into the monitor. Now, the leftover bracket for the camera, normally this would be useless because the camera's already in. We don't need it. However, I found a way to repurpose this along with the phone mounts that we have to get your phone mounted right here. So you have the bike display, your phone, and the monitor for the camera all in a row. All right, so we've got that bracket installed here vertically, and we've got our phone mount here. I looped the camera wire through the phone mount just for added security in case this wire pops off for some reason. I don't have to worry about it dangling or getting snagged on anything. So we're just gonna put this mount right through here. All right, so we've got the phone mount on. Let's see how it looks. If you ask me, I think this is a pretty decent command center for your bike. I can't wait to get this out tomorrow, hit some trails, knowing that I got this peace of mind with the camera. In my opinion, this is a fantastic setup, especially for me, again, since I have my helmet that kind of blocks my view from here down. So having the phone up high is great, so I don't have to keep looking down and then making you guys look down when you're watching the videos. Because I know when I go back and watch my videos, I find that very annoying, so I'm trying to cut that down. So this should help. I know Lisa will love this, being able to see who's behind her and beside her, etc. Like, again, like, game changer. So hopefully this install video helped you if you're planning on getting the same camera or you've been looking for a similar camera. Again, I'll have the link to all the items I use in this video in the description, the camera, the vinyl tape, the phone mount, etc. So let me know in the comments what you think. If you give this a try yourself, please let me know what you think as well. I'm curious how this works out for other people. This is a super obscure device. Like, I searched Google and I searched Amazon high and low for something like this, and just by searching bicycle rear view camera, I could not find this particular product, but I happened to stumble upon it when I was looking at similar products that were intended for automobiles. So thanks for watching. Tune into the next video. Take care of each other, and be safe. Peace.